Tinja, our teenage protagonist, dreams of being a professional gymnast and lives under the pressure of being perfect in an upper-middle-class neighborhood in Finland, where everything seems like something out of a margarine commercial. She lives with her mother, father, and younger brother, Mateus, in a house that could star in her mother's blog called Lovely Everyday Life, a more ironic name, impossible. Her mother, a frustrated former gymnast, loves filming her family to show the world how happy, healthy, and, well, falsely perfect they are. One fine day, while they're recording another video for the blog, proclaiming how much they're the dream family, a crow decides to make a grand entrance, or rather, disastrous, by crashing through the living room's glass door. The bird, clearly with zero sense of direction, goes into hurricane mode, knocking over vases, breaking glasses, sending shards of glass flying, and even destroying the living room lamp, which probably cost a kidney in the finish. Design market. The family tries to capture the bird, but it's like trying to catch a tornado with their bare hands. Tinja, clever as she is, throws a towel over the crow, who is more terrified than anyone else there. Then comes the shock. The mother, in a moment that blends coldness and Scandinavian practicality, decides the bird won't be returned to the wild. That's right, she puts the poor bird to rest, leaving Tinja speechless and slightly traumatized. That same afternoon, Tinja meets Rita, the new neighbor, who is playing with her dog in the garden. The two introduce themselves, but the dog seems to look at Tinja with a look of, "Who are you and why are you invading my territory?" Even so, Tinja tries to make friends with the girl, not the dog, who clearly doesn't like her. Meanwhile, her mother's blog continues unabated, showcasing the family's perfect life, with posts about how she loves her children and hopes Tinja becomes a gymnast. But in reality, the mother is more of a military coach than a fan. She constantly urges Tinja to focus on gymnastics, forbidding any distractions like having friends. Because, friends are the #1 enemy of a perfect vault. That night, Tinja hears a strange noise and discovers that the crow, or something resembling it, is calling outside. Curious and perhaps a little stubborn, she follows the sound into the woods where she finds the bird, or rather, what's left of it, injured, suffering, and protecting an egg. Tinja, heartbroken, decides to end the bird's suffering with a tough decision for a girl who only wanted to be a gymnast, not an emergency veterinarian. But surprise, she realizes that the crow was a mother bird, and the egg is the deceased's legacy. On impulse, Tinja takes the egg home and hides it inside her pink teddy bear. Because, of course, nothing more natural than turning a teddy bear into a makeshift nest. The next day, at gymnastics practice, Tinja's head is in the clouds, or in the clouds, rather. The coach, who seems to have stepped out of a reality show about extreme discipline, warns that, in gymnastics, those who focus on the details win. But Tinja, besides being distracted, begins to realize that her mother isn't the example of perfection she posts on her blog. In a moment of shock, she catches her mother in a very intimate moment with Tiro, the carpenter who always fixes things around the house, and apparently, her mother's heart. When confronted, her mother offers an explanation worthy of a soap opera. "When you grow up, you'll understand that there are special friends, like Tero and me. Your father is your father, but Tero is, Tinja, of course, doesn't know. But it stays in her head while the egg, hidden in the room, begins to pulse with heartbeats. Creepy? Just a little. The next day, at an embarrassing family gathering, Tinja talks to her father, who asks how her training is going. She replies that it's going well, but she feels a strong urge to tell him what she saw her mother do, but she holds back. During the night, she observes the egg again, which is much larger. The next day, she goes to training, and while her crazy mother watches, Tinja makes a mistake and falls during a maneuver. She's immediately reprimanded by her mother, saying that if she doesn't try harder, She will be a failure and will never be able to be happy. Her mother forces her to repeat the maneuver 1,000 times until she gets it right. During the night, we discover that her mother, who was also a gymnast, was forced to stop competing due to an injury, and now takes her failure out on Tinja. She calls Tinja and explains that she is going to meet her friend who fixes things, openly calling Tinja's father a cuckold. Tinja goes to her room and cries a lot on top of the egg, which is now practically her size. Suddenly, the egg begins to crack. Tinja with fear hides, and from inside the egg comes a creature, like a giant and disgusting bird. It observes Tinja for a moment and leaves, breaking the window. Tinja's father arrives. Tinja, our gymnast in crisis, tries to explain the inexplicable. A giant bird invaded her room through the window. The next morning, as the family picks up the pieces, literally of the mess, her father looks at the wreckage and agrees. Look, that bird was really big. And weird. How did it get in here? Little does he know that the creature returned the following night, staring at Tinja with eyes that seemed to say, "You won't believe what I am." And friends, this was no ordinary bird. It had hair, hello? Human teeth, help. And a piece of glass embedded in its arm, which Tinja, with a mixture of courage and terror, decided to remove. The scene is a classic, who's more afraid of whom? But the creature, which we'll call the bizarre bird for now, seemed more scared than Tinja. In a fit of empathy, Tinja decides to take matters into her own hands. She bathes it, sings a lullaby. Because, well, who hasn't sung to a mutant bird? And does everything she can to hide the little monster in her room, especially from her brother Makias, who loves to stick his nose where it doesn't belong. But the peace is short-lived. Rita's neighbor's dog is barking non-stop, and this irritates the bizarre bird. In a sequence that seems straight out of a nightmare, the creature kills the poor dog, drags the body, headless, a macabre detail, to Tinja's bed, and believe it or not, eats the vomit Tinja vomits upon seeing the scene. Yes, it's as disgusting as it sounds, and poor Tinja. All she can think about is burying the little dog before anyone notices. But Machus, her nosy brother, sees Tinja digging in the yard and starts asking questions. Why are you acting strange? And what about that blood? The father, thinking it's a girl thing, doesn't suspect anything. But Machus drops the bombshell at dinner. Tinja killed the neighbor's dog. He even pushes his sister, accusing her of lying. The bizarre bird, who seems to have a radar for family drama, senses the attack and almost reveals its existence when Machus invades Tinja's room. Luckily, or unluckily, he doesn't see the creature hiding under the bed. But Tinja begins to convulse, as if connected to the bizarre bird by an invisible thread. Weird? Definitely. The creature, now called Ali by Tinja, because, of course, every mutant bird needs a cute name, begins to change rapidly. Blonde hair, a little dress stolen from Tinja's closet, and an appearance that screams, "I'm a genetic experiment gone wrong." Meanwhile, the pressure on gymnastics only increases. Rita, the neighbor, is shining in training, and Tinja's mother never misses a chance to rub it in her daughter's face that she needs to be perfect. This awakens something in Ali, who seems to act out whenever Tinja feels angry or envious. And guess what? Rita suffers a mysterious attack on the way home, leaving her hospitalized in serious condition. When Tinja visits her friend, she is greeted with screams and terror, as if Rita knows something. To relieve the pressure, her mother takes Tinja to the house of Taro, the carpenter lover, where they will spend the weekend. The father, in a passively accepting mood, thinks Taro is a nice guy and doesn't care about his wife's affairs. At Taro's house, Tinja meets his young daughter, Helmi, and sleeps in a room that looks like a set from a horror movie. Ali, of course, appears in the dead of night, now looking like a zombie with a blonde hair upgrade. Back at Taro's house, Tinja confronts Ali, who now looks almost identical to her, except for some strange teeth. On her face, Allie isn't just a bizarre bird. She's a mirror of Tinja's darkest feelings, and this transformation is only beginning. Tinja, our struggling gymnast, is now staying with Taro, the kind-hearted carpenter who fixes furniture and apparently broken hearts. Taro is a simple guy. He makes a living from his workshop, is the father of little Helmi, and tries to provide. Tinja with moral support, handing her a new pair of gloves and saying, "Relax, girl. You don't have to become a star just because your mother wants you to." Wise words, Taro, but the problem is, Tinja has bigger concerns than gymnastics. Like a mutant creature named Allie, who needs to eat vomit. That's right. Tinja continues her disgusting ritual of vomiting to feed Allie, and Taro, upon catching her, thinks she's sick. When he opens the bedroom door, he sees Allie, whom he thinks is Tinja, devouring something from a bowl. In the confusion, Taro injures his hand closing the door to avoid an attack from the creature. Poor guy, he thinks it's just the stress of his mother's pressure and forgives Tinja. The next day, Tinja has to go to training. But she's panicking. Leaving Allie at home with Taro and baby Helmi is a recipe for disaster. Back at the gymnastics competition, her mother's pressure reaches Olympic levels. Tinja knows Allie acts out when she's jealous or angry, and in a moment of desperation, she sabotages her own performance to avoid qualifying. Why? Because Allie is one step away from attacking Helmi with a hatchet. Tinja throws herself at the creature's arm to save the baby, leaving Taro confused. "What do you mean? Tinja is at the window and in the room trying to kill my daughter." Her mother swears Tinja was at the competition, but Taro, already at his limit, throws them both out of the house. In the car, her mother, furious with Tinja's failure and the fight with her lover, takes it all out. She slams her nose on the steering wheel in a fit of rage and treats Tinja as if she'd just returned from a vacation, not a family breakdown. Back home, Allie, who somehow got there before them, tries to break into Tinja's room. The girl, already at her limit, chases the creature away, but her father finds it strange to see Tinja, or was it Allie, outside. Her mother, now in Mother of the Year mode, but not really, says Tinja, stinks of failure, words that will surely go in the manual on how not to raise a daughter. While Tinja takes a shower to wash away the humiliation, her mother enters the room and finds Allie, thinking it's Tinja. In a moment of rage, she pulls the creature's hair and rips out a chunk, only to be attacked by sharp nails. Tinja appears just in time to save her mother, revealing that, surprise, there are two identical girls in the house. In an emotional turn of events, Tinja breaks down. She confesses that Allie is her fault, that she's afraid of not being loved, and that she just wants the creature gone because it destroyed her family. Although, let's face it, the mother helped a little in this chaos. The mother, in a rare moment of affection, hugs Tinja and promises she always love her. But the plan? Kill Allie. Armed with a knife, they go after the creature, which is now rolling on the mother's back with a bizarre mouth drooling horrors, one of the most grotesque scenes in the film. Tinja, however, hesitates. After all, she took Allie in, bathed her, sang her to sleep. At the crucial moment, Tinja throws herself in front of the knife to protect Allie, taking a stab in the chest. The mother, in shock, watches Tinja fall dead on top of the creature. And then comes the most confusing and disturbing ending. Allie, now looking almost identical to Tinja, except for some weird teeth, stares at her mother as if to say, "Hi, I'm the new Tinja." The end, or not. This is the end. If you liked it, like it and subscribe. Comment and share this video with your family and friends. This way you help the owner of this channel not to live in a hostel. Thank you very much. Bye bye.